You did that for a hot coffee?
Don't even say nothing.
Order for hot coffee.
You broke into a bank for a hot coffee.
Yeah, Nick, take it.
Was it worth it?
Hell yes, worth it.
Same time. It's so
Yes, worth it.
Welcome, everybody, to the Plumes of Hazard. I, as always, am your host, the Axel Vapor. To my left is the one, the only, the lovely, the beautiful, the talented, Afubaka. Sludge.
I don't have any alcohol right now. So.
Oh, it's so good. What taste your lips? Sorry about the intro. I was trying to enable a different one. Apparently, I had too many layers on at the same time. It was probably just a big old mess. My bad. We have lost Mass Blast. We do not know where he is. We hope he hasn't been carried off by corona mosquitoes. Wherever he is, possible.
I ain't never seen a big boy miss on the plumes.
Never seen a big boy miss on the phone. I probably should have run that. We probably should have ripped that for the intro.
I feel like we might have gotten struck for that.
You think?
Maybe if it's a
just a dude
monetized
talking.
video. Oh, true. You know what? We'll save it for next week.
Yeah, that would be a good one to save for next week. I think that would have been a good one.
Gonna run the whole thing too.
Yeah, why not?
Like a 1 minute 23 seconds. It's worth it. We've run longer intros.
We have longer intros, and they were also.
We used to have longer shows.
Also true. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we got a couple things to talk about. One of which is vape related, shockingly enough. Well, actually, a couple of them, I guess, are vape related.
I had vape pill too.
Nice. And one of them is decidedly not vape related, what I've been dealing with for the last couple of days here at my house. That'll be our tech time. It's not really going to be tech time. We're just going to be talking shit. So, hello, Hobag. Haven't seen you in a minute. Sup, Duro, Rick Cockwad, Festy, of course, and Johan and Horror. There's a few different people in here. Sup, V-Dog? Addy Tooney, what's up, man? What's up there, other wrench? Helping out. Appreciate you. Hopefully everybody can see him talking. That would be good. We can jump right into the first thing. Or I can get queued up for the second thing, which I should have already queued up, but I did not. Because I was busy doing things, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. I'm going to scroll back up because Festy very kindly posted a couple of pictures in here. There it is. There it is. Let me grab these two things here real quick. Boop, 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 bam. Got them. Oh, come on. Yeah, there you go. Friggin' Slack. Getting stuff out of Slack sometimes is the right pain in the balls.
I know.
Pain in the balls. Oh, you know what?
Speaking of Slack, the person I was just on a Zoom with had to run a scan on their computer, and their Slack notifications were coming up, and someone in that person's department was not happy about something. Another person was. It was funny.
They were griping.
Well, because I saw him pop up message by message, blah 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 blah. Sorry, had to get that off my chest. Like,
yeah. I have whenever you're presenting your screen, also right, you're in the middle of a meeting or whatever, and one of your friends at work just starts sending you shit. You're like, ooh, mute those notifications.
Actually, I sent someone a wrong link yesterday.
Yeah, was it super logout?
No, it was just it was a Sports Illustrated article I was reading. I just copied the wrong link. Thankfully, it was that, and
Right. Not something worse.
Yeah.
And it could have been.
Absolutely could have been. But yeah. Oh shit.
What?
Mr. Hank Hill himself is in chat.
Mr. Hank Hill himself? Hell yeah.
C-Def.
Oh, it's C-Defs. What's up, man? What is it? Oh, there it is.
The spinner hand toy? No. It's my Kershaw. It's the bottle opener I'm playing with.
Let's see. We're going to grab that one.
See, this has other uses aside from being made out of overpriced materials and just spinning. You know, like cutting bitches.
For example.
Or prying bitches. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? I'll take this moment to stunt on Sean because real fidgeters can do this.
Mm-hmm. Where's that? I don't have a pen handy. What about the around your thumb? I can do that one.
I can do it. It's just hard with that pen.
Yeah, you have to have the right pen. You need a little weight.
It has not even so much the weight; it's the weight distribution.
Yes.
Boom.
Yes.
Boom.
All right. So first things first. Let's put a battery back in here. I was charging up a battery. I got in some vape mail this week, and it was, let's just say, I haven't really purchased anything in quite some time vape related. It's been a pretty big desert of vape purchases because I've just been using, well, it was the Narda and then the Narca for a while, and then when the EA came out, I did get that. That was what, a year and a half ago, something. And then I was testing the Zeta about a year ago. But that's kind of been about it. Just I use the same mods. If it's I mean different colors, right? I've got Bliss ram hands and Gloom ram hands and Walnut ram hands, but it's same mod. But I bought something, and oddly enough, it was a little bit of a throwback for me because it wasn't a squonker, which is a first for me in quite some time. It was a tank. Came in a little box like this. Now, what this is a tank that, if you haven't seen this, our good friend Todd E-Sig Reviews put out a tank. That's the MT Essentials. Mark Todd.
Was this like his Chinese democracy of an atomizer we've been hearing about for years?
Yeah. No, that was different. He was, I think he was doing some consulting for different companies. This is his. So
or have we just been saying for ages, when the fuck is Todd coming out with it?
Yeah, exactly. So Van and Dell, these guys, he partnered up with those guys, and he made this thing. Now it's called the HAAR, Haar, and what that is it's a particular kind of Scottish sea fog that will roll in if you're along the coast. They call it the HAAR.
Hazy like the moors of Scotland.
Yes. Now, what they did here, and this is something that continually makes me laugh. This is the symbol, the meteorological symbol for the HAAR, right? Is this thing in the middle? But the problem is there's those little swoopy swoops here, and what it looks like to me is it looks like it says char.
Char, yeah.
Char.
Like the Zerg homeworld.
Yeah, exactly. But besides that, it did come in. It comes with a few things. There's a nice little bag of lots of spares and stuff, which is great. It comes with a drip tip. It's kind of a good idea. It's got two halves, and one of the halves has got a big hole, and then they've got another little top lid that you can put on there for it's got a tighter inner diameter. That's nice stuff. Come back. There. And on top of the Limelight Wicket, looks like that. I should do this. Let me come up a little closer.
Can we get a quick Photoshop of Masty in a milk carton chat?
That would be very useful. So that is that's the old HAR. And I just realized when I had it all zoomed up, I had the airflow slightly closed off. Airflow options here. This is dual-sided, so there's these three on both sides. They both go to the bottom of the deck right at your coil, which is cool. They've got one that's a single-sided, but kind of an open little monkey there. And then they've got a wee tiny little mouth-to-lung. Now, it's a fairly loose mouth-to-lung, in my opinion. Then there's a HAR symbol there. And there's kind of like a bunch of little cloudy clouds down here on the bottom. It's got top fillings, so you take the little top nut off.
Is that diffused airflow?
Kinda. It's got 6 holes on it. All right, hold on. I just realized I'm still out of focus. Stop it. There. And I'm not going to try to take this thing apart because it would be just a pain in the cutting linguals to get it apart for you. But the deck has got a single slot for a coil. It's got those 6 airflow holes. If you have them all open, will go right at the coil, which is pretty cool. And the interesting thing about it is a top feeding sort of deck, so the e-liquid definitely drips down onto your wicks. You almost wick it almost like a single coil RDA, like a dripper. And the e-liquid drips down the side. It does have a little juice flow control. This little guy on the side can open and close. I've just been leaving it wide open because you see the backwards hat 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, I do switch it around. That's for sure. There are a few little niggles. There's a few little things that I think could be improved on a V2, but that said, the vape is quite good. Like, top of the line, I'm thoroughly enjoying the vape. I've got it on this Dakotas board. Got it on the Dakotas at this one's at 23 watts at the moment. What? Stop it. The Dakotas just told me it was the empty battery, and that is not true. But then I hit the button again and it came back. All right, here we go. Not bad. It's wide open. It is a pretty significant restricted lung, I would say. At least with a 3mm coil in it, which is what I have in there at the moment. But still definitely restricted lung. It is certainly not, if you like an airy vape, it's not going to give you that. I would equate this to about a 3mm. If you think about back in the day, like Uber Toot style, about 3mm. I like that. I feel like I get more air on other things, but the bottom line is, performance-wise, abolishment doesn't taste better in just about anything else. I would put it right up against everything, and I say that because Todd says that all the time about other addies, right? Once you get to a certain level of vape quality, it starts to become difficult to differentiate and rank them over each other. But
it's like Michael Jordan. And then LeBron came along and everyone's trying to say he's better.
Right. Exactly like that.
That's oh, but Michael Jordan didn't have diffused airflow.
He definitely did not. Anyway, I've got abolishment in here at the moment. Just for this Addy, I went and bought re-ups of abolishment and Get Pissed. Right now it's primarily Get Pissed with a little bit of abolishment in there, which is my standard mix. I do like that. It's nice and cold. A little minty, a little fruity. How's it compared to Uber Toot? It's better than an Uber Toot in that you can buy one.
It's also, probably far more reasonably priced.
Far more reasonably priced. You can actually buy one. And let me show you.
You don't have to sell your Uber Toot to buy dog food.
Yes. So I Googled, and this is the first one that came up as good old Phileas Cloud. This is not an endorsement. This is just the first one that popped up at the top of the head. The nice thing about these things is you do not have to be in any sort of group or list or anything like that to get a hold of one. They're making sure to send this out. Now, this is a partnership, like I said, between Vanadel and Mark Todd, but they are not created or not machined specifically by Vanadel. These are outsourced to specifically a place in Hong Kong, so not just rando Chinese quality. These are made in a place that did a pretty good job. So I have to admit, as I was going through and when I opened this thing up, there was zero machine oil in there. There was no smell. It was extraordinarily clean. I didn't feel like I had to clean it at all, which is pretty unusual for me. That's usually like the first thing that I do with a new Addy.
I do that anyway.
Yeah, I did too. But
you do the.
Yeah, but I don't think it needed it. But it came from China, and we know it comes from China these days. So I went ahead and cleaned it just to make sure.
Chinese people.
Yeah. Maybe that's a little bit of an overreaction for me, but I did still clean it, even though I didn't think I needed it, per se. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Rick. For those that are in the States, Vaping Art, have they got them in yet, Rick? Or because I do know that they were getting them in, but I didn't know if they were in yet or not. But they should have them, and they're like $100. And Todd has said, I think publicly, that these are priced at a spot where they can get really consistent and good quality as far as machining goes and consistency, but also cheap enough to where they're accessible, and also kick Todd and Vanadel a couple of bucks for coffee, that kind of thing.
Is Chris making a bell cap for it? Probably.
I would assume so. He and Todd get on. That's actually a really good question. I didn't even think about that.
I love that about the vaping business. No bell caps because they don't get along.
Yeah.
Or something, yeah, along those lines.
Now that said, I'm sitting here trying to think about it. They may not be able to. And the reason I say that is this is a pretty complicated Addy. I think that's the nicest way I can say it. There are a few parts, and they all do things, right? So you've got a top cap that unscrews to refill, and then you've got the top of the tank and the window, and then this bottom tank ring here is the juice flow control, and that's got to be able to be moved independently. And then you've got the AFC, and then the bottom ring, which holds in the deck. There's a lot of parts.
So theoretically, you could only replace the top half of the tank if you were to place any of it.
And it would still have to be top fill.
Oh yeah. So I mean, for instance, like the K-Fun 5 cap, it has the top fill and all that. And the juice flow, I think, is built into the base, so you can just rotate. But with that, because there's more moving parts, so you can maybe go down to the window, make that bell, and I think that's about it.
Yeah.
So it may not even be worth making one for it.
It might not be, but it might make it look kind of cool.
It would be like a bell top.
Yeah, it'd be like a bell top. It would be a cap. It'd be like a dripper, right? It's like just the cap part.
It would be it'd be a half cap. It's what it's like. It wouldn't be worth it. It's like I want that bell cap look.
Yeah.
I ain't looking for no cyborg.
Oh, thanks, Fessy. He said that VapeMats said they're going to have them tomorrow at noon. So for those U.S. Americans, you should be able to get them at VapeMats. VapeMats.com. Give good old Uncle Larry some business.
I realized I should have gone first with my vape milk because mine's far less interesting.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
I mean, it's fine.
Yeah. This has reminded me how much abolishment and Get Pissed, how much they ruin Railcracker. Like it's just, your palate is just minty goodness, and it's really hard to go back to a savory kind of Railcracker after that.
It tasted better though. That's kind of why I always liked having. When I used to run 2 setups, I would put the savory shit in the dripper and the minty stuff in the tank.
Yeah.
I would never really get tasted out of either because they were in a rotation.
Right. Yeah, it just takes a few sips of Diet Coke and a few minutes to kind of clear out the palate for me to go back to the Railcracker. Because like we talked about a long time ago, I love this e-liquid, and obviously I love these 2 e-liquids, but they do not go together. They're not mixable. Yeah. So I think, in my humble opinion, I think this is a solid tank. I would put it up there with the Skyline and the Evil Reaper and let's see the K-Fun, the later K-Fun. I forgot the one that just came out not too long ago. Not the Light V2, but not the V5. Is it the V5? Is that the latest one?
I have the K-Fun 5.
Yeah, that one or the Stadtquam, the EC. It's a good tank. It's a good tank, and that one builds pretty easy too. This one does have nice little clampy, posts. Makes it really easy to build. I built this one with 25. Built it with 27 gauge. This is how long it's been since I built a tank. I wrapped up a 27 gauge and threw it in there, and it came out after pulsing at 2 ohms. It's like,
Yeah, when you guys were on your 2 ohm bullshit, like, oh, I need more than 6 volts to vape.
Yeah, there's a little of that. It wasn't 2 ohms. It was 1.7 that Sean and I settled on.
It's still in the pansy era for me.
But 2, by the way, even I can admit 2 was too much metal. The coil was too big. I pulled it out.
I want to vape like it's 2008.
Like I pulled it out, put a 25 gauge build in, and this one's at 1 ohm. Yeah, like 0.99. Perfect. It's perfect now.
But
I do like how it feeds. I have not had any dry hits. Once you get it built up right. By the way, if you get one of these, if anybody's planning on buying one, the one tip that I'll give you that I had to find out is, so let's pretend. Let's use this. Let's pretend this is your coil, right? And you feed your wicks through, and so your wicks would be coming out and coming down, right? I would suggest cutting it longer than you think you might need to, because what you need to do is you need to get it out and then make them up into a bit of an M. The reason is because that top peak is what's touching your juice flow channels, and that's going to give you the proper amount of wicking and not too much wicking down. And also you really want to make sure to get the points of the wicks down to the deck. I did have one where as I was building it, I was being really chintzy with my shadow. And this particular one was a little short, and I'm like, you know what? I bet this is going to be a problem, but I went ahead and built it anyway just to see. And yeah, it was a little bit of a gurgle. So that's my tip for you. Make sure you got a little bit of, you don't just go straight down to the deck. You get, nice full arch, and then go all the way down to the deck. No problem since then. This has been sitting overnight for days. It's been fine ever since then. But so that's my one tip for the build. Yes, that's right, C-Death. It is Kaifun, but we've always said K-Fun. Even for my very, very first one, where I had to get to my very first K-Fun light, it was right when they came out with a light, and a friend of mine this was before I was on anything vaping related on Facebook, where it was all on Reddit and on a custom knife forum that happened to have like a little vaping section, and a guy in this custom knife forum happened to be going to the store in Russia. This was 2014 or whatever, and he's like, there's this Addy and you have to buy it. And I was like, why? That's really expensive. Why would I buy $100 something Addy? He's like, dude, I'm telling you, give me $100, I'll go buy you one and ship it to you. And I was like, okay. So he did, and it kind of ruined me for years and years after that. That's my K-Fun story.
I think I got my first K-Fun. The first time I vaped a K-Fun was fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like the flavor tip and all that. I didn't get one until I was working at a shop. My coworker bought one and hated it, so he gave it to me for a bit of a discount.
Ew. Was this
That's how I got
before
my
we were
first-
hanging out?
This is while we were hanging out.
Mm.
Yeah, we already did a show at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you were still on Cardo tanks and shit when we started the show, right?
Yeah, I think I was doing Cardos and.
And drippers.
No. Yeah, I just started dripping, but
Yeah.
I think I was in the last. I think I had still been rebuilding pro tank heads too, because the pro tank coils pissed me off, and then Bigglesworth is like, dude, just rebuild them with cotton and do it. Game changer.
Yeah.
Game changer.
Yeah. Those things are a pain in the dick, and I've still got a few pro tank coils that I rebuilt that I quit using once I got a
Yeah, I rebuilt them
rollable
with like
tank.
28 gauge.
Yeah,
Oh, it was good shit.
it was good shit. It's a pain in the dick though, but it was good shit.
Well, honestly, it was easy after you did like 2 or 3.
Yeah,
You knew how to do it.
right.
This is before I had good wire cutters, so I was using a nail cutter to clip my leads.
Mm.
But yeah. But anyway, this came in literally the morning after the show. My Chroma R.
Your Chroma R came.
Yeah.
How long did you have to wait for that? Like, it was like 2 months, right?
Just about.
Yeah.
Today is the 2-month anniversary of my order. May 15th, didn't ship till the 30th. Was in the Netherlands for most of the time.
Mm.
But yeah, I think once it got to Miami, it was here within a week. But yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. 18650 mod. I don't have my removable 650 cool flyer anymore. I donated that to a vapor in need. So this is the screen. See, I need to change my battery.
Yeah.
Here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
See my resistance? That's supposed to be a tenth of an ohm higher.
Oh.
Supposed to be like, close to a 0.7.
Yeah.
What I didn't know was the whole screen is the button. It's like a deadband switch.
Oh, really?
But I usually push it from up here anyway, but being able to squeeze is nice. Basically, if you've used an FSCKIN mod before, they all more or less have the same functionality. Like, you want to change the wattage, you got to hold it down.
Yeah. To get into the change mode.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So it's not a DNA mod, but there aren't any DNA mods that fit this size bill or like just this part. Where is my jack?
I mean, there are. It's the Wicket, right?
It's cost me $40-something.
Well, yeah, you got me there.
Oh, here it is. So size comparison. Look at this fucking thing. I literally haven't looked at it since I put it in the drawer, but like.
I gotta say, it's a pretty good looking device, and I kind of dig the display. The display looks pretty cool too.
A little bit wider, but dude, this thing is so much more comfortable in the hand. I have this here. This is clutch.
Yeah.
How does it regulate power? It fucking doesn't. The ramp up is a little higher. Well, I think I had to turn down my wattage because the resistance is a little lower.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm vaping at 27 on this. So battery life has more or less been the same. It's been vaping good. It's only, I think it fell off my desk once, but for once it hit the rug.
Mm.
The less expensive mod hits the rug.
Of course,
not
it
the
does.
wood floor.
I know Will and Festy were both talking about that thing. They said it was a great little mod.
I love it. Hasn't, I don't think it's left the house yet. I think it may have gone on a drive, but as you know, like this is just my default going out piece, so this is good for work and
A little classier. Yeah. How's the weight?
Yep. Yeah, I think I got it. So why did I order it off Fast Tech? Because I couldn't find one in black on the internet anywhere. Except Fast Tech. Actually, I could find it in black, but they had the kit with the tank, and I didn't really need that because you know what I'm going to slap on it.
Right.
So, yeah, that's my vape mail. And yeah,
How's the weight?
happy.
Does it feel nice?
it is nice. I think it's a little lighter overall, but the weight distribution's better.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I could see a problem being down the road is the battery door, but
Is the switch kind of janky or something?
no. Just like with any mod, I could just see this being a point of failure, but I don't gorilla hand my, generally treat my stuff
Sure.
fairly well. Most of the damage on the jack was straight up from handling, and just like once one little paint chip happened, then the rest of the shit. Every so often I'd go out and I would have little chips of paint in my nail or this, that.
Right.
That. Fuck all of that. But it's a $40 mod, so if like the rubber starts coming off in a year, I think I got my money's worth out of it.
Right. And that's the good thing about FSCKIN mods. They tend to have the right amount of weight. They're usually not like cheap feeling, light. and they're usually not, you know, Chinesium plated lead, whatever that they use.
This definitely isn't as tanky as other Anakin mods,
Hmm.
but that's all right because it's a trade-off. I want lighter, smaller,
Yeah.
whatever. All right, yeah, this battery's kicked.
Oh, or see my knife. Actually, I'm carrying the big one again. This is my Graham Midnight Razor. Oop.
Oh, this is the other knife I like to spin around my finger. This is the other curse.
This is not a spin around your knife thing. Spin around your finger knife. This thing is a beast.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm working with.
Yeah, that's much more reasonable.
It's like your knife just had a baby.
Yeah, that
This is honestly, out of all the fucking knives I bought, this is still my favorite.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a little straight razor. I kind of dig it.
Remember I shaved them?
Mm-hmm.
to the
As long
live
as the
shave?
lock. A lot of times when you get those little guys, the locks are kind of wonky, but that one looks like it's got a.
This one
spine
doesn't lock. That's the thing.
Oh, it doesn't.
No, that's really the only gripe I have with it. But honestly,
Well, if you're busting
It's a- it's-
boxes or something, that's fine, right?
yeah, it's a small work.
Yeah.
It's either this or this. Usually leave the house with me
Right.
because they're both reasonably sized. So. Or even this jobby. I'll get all classic Spyderco.
Oh yeah. Good old Spideys. Abdullah did not see the 415 mouth to lung tame. I haven't vaped mouth to lung in a while. Festi gives me a hard time about that sometimes, but no, MTL kind of went out for me when was it the hurricane that turned me into
Ubertoot hurricane era.
Yeah, I think it was hurricane and then straight into the Ubertoot, and I was done. After I get the toot, it was all restricted lung at that point. So that is quite exciting. That's awesome. You got a new mod. I have a. So, I was making mashed potatoes, loaded mashed potatoes yesterday.
Pillowy mounds of mashed potatoes.
Mm-hmm. So I peeled up, a big mess of potatoes, and I did so in my off sink like I usually do. Got up all the peels, threw them away, and I had just a few extra ones, right? So I threw them down the disposal, and what I didn't tell you already is my left sink, my non-disposal sink, had been backed up lately for whatever reason. It wasn't draining very quickly, and then all of a sudden my right sink was doing the same thing, and I was like, well, son of a bitch. And I happen to have a gag, and I don't have it on me at the moment. I was given a poop emoji plunger a while back, but I've never used it because it's got, it's funny, but it's got a bunch of like spots that if you used it for its intended purpose would be gross. We'll put it that way. So I never used it, just kept it around for the laughs and because it was a gift. So I was like, wait a minute. So since that's clean, I can use that gently maybe and try to plunge out my sink that was backed up now on both sinks. Yeah. So my decade-old disposal died because that was the straw that pushed it over because all of a sudden it was leaking out of the bottom. So which means, as I was thinking it through, I'm like, okay, if water's making it out the bottom and not around it, not from the top, but it was coming out like the reset switch and the power cord and stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's dead. So I started Googling around and confirmed that suspicion, and so I started shopping for disposal. So today has been plumbing, this afternoon has been plumbing afternoon at the Casa de Angsty. I think in general it was it's going okay, but my worst fears did come to pass. So and this is one of the things I was going to share with everybody. So if you're squeamish, you've been warned. I'm going to show a couple pictures, and it might make you sad. Here's my screen share. Here. So this is out of my left sink, and I'm going to turn up my thing because there's a thing for it out here. Yeah, here we go.
I can't see shit, so
No, you can't.
you have to show me after the show.
I'll show you after the show. It's pretty brutal. So that's why it was backed up. It was not was not pleasant. So I got all that stuff apart. Took out all the PVC and blasted them out in the yard. Got the old disposal out. That was no problem. I hung the new bracket and stuff. And as I was assembling and about to hang the actual disposal into the new bracket that I had putted and mounted up there, my worst fears came to pass, and that is they're a different height. Even though I bought the same brand. Addy, that's perfect. Yes, that's exactly right. Even though I bought the same brand, apparently the outflow from the disposal is at a different height, so all of my pipes are now I can't line them back up. It's not a duro, but it looked like it. So what I need to do now, I think they'll be closed by the time the show's over. So tomorrow afternoon, I think I'm gonna have to head back up to the Home Depot or Ace Hardware or something and buy one of the flexible style.
Might want to pick yourself up a guy who knows how to plumb.
No, that part went fine. I just don't feel like trying to build the PVC thing back again because it's a pain in the dick. Abdul, that is what happens when you have a sink that's 10 years old and it's never been taken apart. Hey, I warned you guys beforehand. It's pretty brutal. Yeah, no, or you don't. I mean, you got to be careful with what you put down them, and I have been careful with this one over the years, but and definitely not putting food down my secondary drain, which is where that gross picture came from. But I mean, no matter what, something every now and then sneaks down there, right? You can't help but get a little bit of a few crumbs here and there, and a macaroni noodle or whatever makes it down the wrong side, and you just kind of put a bunch of water down and you hope. The disposal, yeah, you can put eggshells. You can put.
You don't use the mesh like sink traps. That's what I use.
Yeah, you can, but those things. I do have one of those, but even that I mean, stuff sneaks around them. It just happens.
Because usually what I do is I empty it out and then I'll spray a little bleach in it because shit likes to grow on it. So just a little Clorox cleanup. Just
not Windex.
No, unfortunately, Windex doesn't work for that.
Of all
it's the one thing it doesn't work.
The one thing. It'll cure depression, but it will not clear a drain.
I got my first tattoo. What was I doing? Spraying Windex on it.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I think what I'm gonna do in order to avoid rebuilding the whole thing is what I'll probably just go buy one of the ones that are the flexible tubing and just use that instead of trying to rebuild all the PVC stuff. Just a pain in the dick. Oh yeah, back to what we were talking about. There's a lot of things that you shouldn't put down a disposal that some people do. Potato peels are one of them, right? You don't put potato peels down there because it just gums it up. It just one of those flaps can go right up against your exhaust port and then it clogs it up. It's a pain in the dick. You don't put a lime down, and that's important down here in Texas. We go through a lot of limes, making margaritas and putting it on the food and whatever you're gonna do. Even small pieces of lime, that rind is tough, surprisingly tough. Even the ones that are really powerful, you can put peach pits and bones down there, but for whatever reason, I have always been told that lime peels are really bad to put down and dispose all. But you can put lemon, that's okay. But it's the limes that are leathery and tend to get flung around more than ground up. I'll put it that way. That is what I've been told. Yeah, grease, Duro, absolutely. Definitely don't want grease down there. Especially something that's going to turn solid at room temperature, like beef fat, chicken fat, like meat fat. Bad idea. Hydrogenated vegetable oil, like
two things I have lived my entire life without. Garbage disposal is one of them.
Is that right?
Yeah, I've never had one. Ice making fridge.
I still have a set of trays that I do have in my freezer, and I rotate them out every now and then because my little inbuilt one, if I have guests over or whatever, like if there's more than like 6 people in the house, my little fridge does not keep up with the amount of ice. Will said I put all that shit down the disposal. well, there you go. Now,
I'm the garbage disposal.
you're the garbage
down the drain because I finished it all.
That's right. Now but lemons though are what I've always been told to put down there if it stinks. If it stinks, if you've used a lemon or whatever and you're cooking, chunk that down there and grind that up, and it does. It works. It works pretty well. Kind of cleans it out, freshens it up a bit. By the way, when you take a disposal out of a sink and you get that bracket off and you just have the hole in the bottom of your sink, I can confirm that it is sharp. They have not broken those edges. I did slice my thing, my finger a little bit, which is really funny because it was totally clean. I was just getting all the schmoo off of there right before I puttied the new one. I was like, I'm just gonna make sure that it's all done right. It already cleaned it all off. Yeah, that of course is when when it does it. Yeah, Joe, that's what Fu was just saying. You don't need a garbage disposal. You don't.
Yeah, it was just one of those things that I never grew up with, and then I was at someone's house. And I'm like, wait, you put all this shit down there and you hit a button and it just chops it. Get the fuck out of here.
I've had one for many years, and I do like it.
Trash compactors were another holy fuck thing for me too.
Never had a trash compactor in my house though.
There was one kid I knew, and I think I went to middle school with him, and had one at his house, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I worked at Best Buy and had access to one. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's a quick sidetrack. I had myself a bit of a Star Wars moment in the trash compactor.
I bet.
Just, as you know, I'm not the only one who has access to it. There are people from other departments who come and throw shit in there like donkeys, and there's literally a long, like 6-foot wood handle thing. It looks like an elongated broom handle that you use to go, and if something gets stuck, you just push it down, right?
Yeah.
Nope. There's trails of garbage juice fucking in like the little ramp down so it fucking stinks. So I had to go in there, and someone took my goddamn handle.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to climb up in there and start kicking shit down, and of course I slipped on garbage juice, fell in. I like cut my arm.
Wait, why were there garbage juice at a Best Buy?
It was in the trash compactor.
Well, I know, but like I'm trying, the things that you're gonna throw away at a Best Buy would. Well, I guess if the trash, I guess customers' trash to have a. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Customer, people's bottles or fucking lunch. I think the garbage from the break room also came to the compactor. So I know who loaded it like a donkey. I may have eaten some of his leftovers out of the fridge.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with me with that. So anyway, I did my, in all my anxiety and stress, I still had the wherewithal to be like, 3PO. But yeah, that trash packer's dope. The bale, cardboard bales are even cooler.
Yes, cardboard bales are sweet.
Fuck emptying those though.
Yes.
Holy shit! You use like basically a fucking rebar to like tie that shit together.
Right. Yeah, the baling wire.
Bro, the forearms were brolic then.
Yeah. What's that? Damn, I must have a cicada like right outside the window. Damn, that's loud.
But
sorry, somebody just asked. Dennis just asked how the HAR is doing. The HAR is doing pretty well. I was just talking about it at the beginning of the show. So maybe after the show, just rewind a little bit, and I talked about it, kind of walked through it a little bit, said my thoughts. But the short version is, it's the vape quality itself is solid. It's definitely a good buy. If you need a tank, you could definitely consider it. What up, Church?
Yo, Church.
So that was my adventures today. Was in home ownership was doing a little bit of light plumbing. This is one job that I haven't that I've never done. I've rebuilt toilets. I've done, I've built stuff around the house. I've fixed stuff. I've painted stuff. I've done a bunch of things. I replaced my sink. I replaced my my faucet. And then,
The extent of like my plumbing work goes in terms of like changing cartridges on my sink, or when my sister's bathroom's sink would invariably get clogged.
mm-hmm.
So pulling out that elbow joint,
Mm,
disgusting.
yes.
Cleaning that out, and then all the other schmutz. So you do is you take a balled up paper towel. This is after you remove the elbow joint. You just push that shit down, and it comes out, and it's like, ew. And I told her, I'm like, I'm never doing this again. If this happens again, I'll show you how to do it.
I mean, fair is fair.
Put
right?
a foiled dish under the elbow joint, unscrew it, let everything fall out,
Yeah.
clean it out. It's just gross. That's really all it is. And PVC threads love to get cross-threaded.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that is the most... See, that's the thing. I didn't know that the first time I unscrewed PVC pipe.
And obviously they're soft too, right? So you can definitely fuck them up with a quickness.
Yep. Plastic seizing is the fucking worst.
There's so the thing that this sink is using is these slip joints, which is, it allows for one side to not be threaded, so only one side of the whatever you're joining together is threaded. Then there's a seal that you kind of put in between there, and I talked to Will and Fessy about it today before I went in to deal with it, because I've never used one that worked like that. I'm more accustomed to fittings that are more secure, I guess, or you're made to go together. And this is more flexible because obviously you can cut the one to length. But
thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
To talk about plumbing, my brother has my pliers because he was moving, needed them.
Yeah.
Reminded me to remind him to leave that shit in the car.
Bastard.
They're my needle noses that I've had for like ever.
Mm.
When you have a tool for that long, you don't want to fucking lose it.
That's right. That's right, Church. That is the best thing about renting, right? It's when something like that's going on, you're like, hey, landlord.
And even still, sometimes you don't want a donkey to fix it. Sometimes, like, I'm renting now, and I need plumbing. The two plumbing issues I've had since I moved in, I fixed it myself.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, if it's a simple enough fix,
I just gave my landlord the receipt for the parts. That was it.
There you go. But if your hot water heater blows up, I can fix that.
See, I don't have access to that.
Yeah. You have like a big, like a communal boiler or something.
Sink, I had to do some work on it. So.
Yeah. Well, that, and then, you get out of your yard work. There's some significant good things about renting.
I didn't do too much. I had too much yard to maintain myself.
At the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corner lot, bruh.
Yeah. Me too. It's a lot of edging.
So. Right. Not vape mail, but tattoo mail.
Oh yeah.
I got this on Saturday. Peep it.
Amazing.
If you don't know who that is, then well, shit.
We probably can't be friends.
I mean, we can be friends. I just have to be at peace with you being an inferior human being. It was like lepers.
That's right.
Actually, no, lepers, you were dead to them. I mean, like, of course, the convenience of lepers was, we're not going to acknowledge you, but God will. Yeah.
Unclean.
I think that's how it went. Hey, do you know what you call a leper taking a bath?
No. What?
Stew.
I got it right when you said it.
Hey, do you know what this is?
Lubriderm?
It's a leper's family's portrait. That's an old one I heard from cousins from overseas, bro.
I heard the much more unkind version of that a long time ago. And I have not thought about it in many, many years until you just said that. Yeah, the color looks great, Horror, and it's peeling too. So it once it's done with that, it's gonna look awesome, I bet.
Dude, yeah, I mean, I'm glad I don't have shitty skin because I've never had any difficulty. This is my third tat, and I don't have any issues. I mean, this morning actually sucked. It was one of those mornings I got up to pee at like fucking 5:30 this morning, 6 o'clock. 2 hours before my alarm goes off, and I can't fall back asleep.
Mhm.
I'm like, all right, I put on a podcast on my phone, low volume. I'm about to fall asleep. Guess what happens? I smacked my arm with the fucking pillow. Right on the top, and I was like, oh. And then I fell asleep like 15 minutes later.
Oh.
But it was starting to feel like a Alexander and a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day start to it. But thankfully, I mean, it still is. I was supposed to shower before the show, but I was literally working before I hopped into Zoom.
Yeah.
Today was a Seinfeld episode of a work day.
Mm-hmm.
I saw 4 things I'd never seen happen before.
4 things that you've never seen happen before. What is that? Are there any good ones to mention?
Not really. Just like the VPN client was fucking up in a way that I hadn't seen it fuck up before. Like the Outlook notification, when you get like the slide out notification from the bottom right.
Yeah.
There was someone I know was having those happen twice. But because it's a custom Windows build, I can't fix it the way I normally would. Apparently, Masty also posted some shit about there being a shitty Office update that went out. I don't know if that applied to my version, because I think most people are still using 2016. We were guinea pigging 365 before all this shit happened. So
I bought an Office license, I don't know how many years ago, and I used it for many years until I think 2 years ago, where I needed some feature on a new version of Excel or something. So I had to go and buy one of the subscription, licenses to 365.
I still have Office 2007.
Yeah. I think that's
No, sorry, not 2007. I have 2011. Department of Education license that I've had for a while. Through work though, I get Office for like $50 a year with OneDrive, so
it's not bad.
Reasonable, but I'm still a pirate.
You're still a pirate? Is that what you said?
Well, yeah, and I mean, aren't they using Office? There's like 2019, which runs alongside 365, right?
Probably.
So. You and the custodian lady. Should I not have done that? Was that bad?
Oh yeah, I just bumped this into so one of the things that I learned that I didn't know beforehand is disposals don't come with a power cable, which I thought was kind of wacky. Apparently a lot of them are built in, but every apartment I've ever rented and every house that I've been in, they've always had a plug, like just a regular old 3-prong plug. And apparently most of them come naked, without a wiring harness. So I had to buy a wiring harness. So of course, instead of doing that, of course I broke out the soldering kit, and it's screw a wire nut. I'm gonna solder them some bitches. It's gonna get real power, dependable power.
I don't like voltage drop.
No voltage drop in my disposals.
I'm gonna put neodymium contacts in it.
That's right. I buy a 3/4 horse disposal. I want 3/4 horse disposal. Yeah, that's right, Fessy. That's exactly what I had before.
Yeah, Fess, you know what the problem was? It doesn't make enough money.
Yeah. Speaking of which, oh my god, I don't even remember if I've had this rant before. But I'm totally going to mention it because it pissed me off again this week. I have been running 1Password since I think version 2 or 3. Maybe it was 1Password 3, the first one I bought a long time ago. And it's one of those things that I always, anytime somebody gets an Apple product, be it an iPhone or a MacBook or whatever, it's one of the things that I tell them, this is a good thing to have because it's great and it's always worked really well. They take the security really seriously, and you can sync it. Historically you could sync it across your Dropbox or whatever, or you can, these days they've got their own thing. But I've been running 1Password 6 that came out like 7 years ago or something, and I've been running it fine, right? until I built this Windows PC a year and a half ago or whatever. And I was like, well, maybe I'll buy a license for this. And I was like, oh, crap, you can't. Because they've gone to freaking a subscription-based thing. Like, you have to pay them every year for this product. Now, granted, you get, they've got their own secure servers where your vault is stored encrypted on their stuff, so that way it makes it easier to sync and all that kind of crap. Okay, like, I get it. But the problem is 1Password 6 lasted, it was out for, I think, 5 years before they went to 7. And 7's been out for over 2 years now. So if you're buying the sub, even if you buy a year in advance, it's like $36 a year or something like that. And if I had gone straight to go, when they released 7, if I would have upgraded to that, got onto their subscription model, I'd pay like, it'd be like $90 now. And they still haven't released 8 or anything. So like, and even 7 was an incremental upgrade. It wasn't anything huge. So anyway, the whole thing just kind of pisses me off. I don't know. I don't understand why I have to pay, hundreds of dollars over years to buy some software. It's freaking ridiculous. Now, I did find that you can buy a one-off license still for 1Password 7, but you have to Google for it because it's buried at the bottom of like a 20-page blog post of them announcing version 7. And at the very, very bottom, it's like these little things like, if you still want a license, you can buy one here. And that's like the only place you can find it, which is annoying. I hate that. I don't mind doing something like that for something that makes sense, right? If something's being continuously updated, crazy cool new features and stuff, okay, I guess. But for something like Office, but I mean, how many more, bells and whistles and bloaty crap do you need, right? That 2011 license that you bought, that was expensive when you bought it, it's fine, right? For most people, it's fine.
FedEx Smart Post can eat my ass.
Who can eat your ass?
FedEx Smart Post. Because my headphones that I got the other week, FedEx moved it most of the way, and then they handed off the USPS, who left it on my fucking stoop in the rain and never rang my goddamn bell. Like $200 purchase.
Right. Just leave it on your step.
For those wondering why they do that, the door-to-door delivery is the most expensive part of the shipping process.
It's true. At least they didn't get sent through Opelika.
By a lot, too.
Yeah. At least they didn't get sent through Opelika. That'd be worse.
Well, might as well have, because like FedEx, so Drop is located in New Jersey, but FedEx the package had to go from New Jersey to PA to their hub and then to NYC, which was dumb. But I guess whatever, because FedEx doesn't move over the weekends.
Yeah, Tim, I did the same thing years ago. I needed a Windows license for a virtual machine that I was running on the Mac, and I did buy an OEM copy off of eBay, and I paid pennies on the dollar kind of thing. Same thing, but that always skews me out a little bit.
Well, because Software Swap got shut down.
Yeah,
because that's where I got my brother's Windows key. Now you can go to Kingwin. You usually like. I was just telling Tim in chat, usually not more than $30 for a pro key.
Because a lot of those, they just generate them, right?
My key came from Chance. He had a spare Windows 8 key from when he worked at Geek Squad.
Nice.
It was an 8.1 key that had an upgraded Windows 10.
Nice. A buddy of mine just told me he has a spare laptop that he wants to rebuild, and now I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with that. I think it's old, so I'm wondering if I should just put like Chrome OS or something on it just to give that a whack. Turn it into a Chromebook.
How old are we talking?
I don't know. He didn't tell me, but if it runs, I'm gonna figure something out. Just to have on. I'm not even sure exactly what I'm gonna use it for, but he said he's not using it, so I'll figure something out. I'm sure Chance will buy it.
And don't put Chrome OS. I'd rather you put Linux on it before that.
Yeah, that's true. I could do that too. I haven't run like Ubuntu or anything in a long time.
Yeah, Ubuntu, anything but Chrome OS. Not a fan.
Is it not good? I haven't tried it. That was the reason I was going to do it, just to see it, because I've never messed with
I think a guy like you wouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check with Tony. I think he may have some experience with it. But
Okay.
he's definitely gonna tell you to go Linux.
No, that's probably true too. The last time God, it's been a minute since I ran Linux. I'm sure it's getting. I'm sure I can figure it out, muddle my way through it. All right. I think that's all the things I had to talk about. That's not true. There's one other thing I want to talk about. Let's see. Festy very
Birds
kindly
and bees.
put these in our Slack, and I opened them earlier at the beginning of the show and then forgot to talk about them. There's a couple new pictures that were released of the Exoset V2. If you're interested in a billet box Addy, here we go. So they're tiny little pictures, but you can see a picture of the deck, which is kind of cool. You can see the little juice flow channels there. And then in the middle there, you can see the new airflow pins that they're putting in there, which I think are a pretty good idea. There's been a few Addies that have done this style of thing. One thing I'd liked about it is the fact that they are, at least the way it looks from these pictures, is they are reducing the airflow. If you're wanting a tighter airflow, they're doing it right underneath the coil, which is obviously where you want to do it, not at the bottom like most billet box Addies do. Anyway, it's still under construction, and I don't think they're quite out yet. But the new deck looks pretty cool. I mean, it's obviously a little bit more friendly, or a lot more friendly than the old Exoset that I did like so much. On the other hand, you could just buy a Zeta. Way cheaper, I'm guessing. Way more flexible. But Rick says Cheeky Vapes has them. I think Festy said he looked at Cheeky Vapes and it was gone in like an hour earlier today. I think so. But and that would surprise me for sure, because Addy Smith does not tend to retail very many. If they ever retail them, it's almost always through their site, or through their Facebook group rather. Okay. That said, those are the last things I want to talk about tonight. Anything else from you, Fu?
No.
No? All right. That's a pretty good show. We'll have to go send some search and rescue people out for Massey. I don't know what happened to him.
Batty's probably giving him trouble, if I had to guess.
That's probably what it is. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for coming out and hanging out with us and talking a little bit about vaping, a little bit about knives, and a little bit about garbage disposals, home ownership, and whatnot. We will be back here next week. Same Plumes time, same Plumes channel. Later. Out.